If you have already felt that an amazing woman has just lost interest from nothing, you may be making this fatal mistake. And the worst? Most men don't even realize what they are doing wrong. But today, I will show you exactly what really drives women away and, more importantly, how to avoid it forever. And stay with me until the end, because I will reveal you a secret that can completely change your approach to relationships. Imagine this. You met a woman who seemed interested, the connection was strong, the conversations flowed, and suddenly she began to walk away. The answers got shorter, the rarest meetings, and soon she disappeared. You wonder, what did I do wrong? And tries to fix the situation in every way, but every message you send only seems to push it even more. Frustration hits and doubt arises. Is the problem me? This error happens all the time, and if you don't know how to deal with it, you will be bound to repeat this cycle in each new interaction. But calm down, because the problem is not who you are, but the way you lead the attraction. The truth is that seduction is not a matter of luck, beauty, or money. It is about understanding psychology behind female desire and knowing how to activate the right emotional triggers. And that's exactly what you will learn now. The big balcony is that women do not lose interest for no reason. There is a behavior that, when repeated, kills the attraction and transforms initial enthusiasm into absolute disinterest. And believe me, this behavior is more common than you think. Many times we think we are showing affection, interest, and commitment, but in reality, we are transmitting lack, insecurity, and lack of their own value. This destroys the dynamics of seduction and makes women unconsciously see you as someone without challenge, without mystery, without magnetism. And here comes a fundamental concept. Attraction is not something you can force. The more you run after it, the more you escape. What makes a woman feel irresistibly attracted is not how much you show that you like her, but how much she feels she needs to gain her space in her life. Men who understand this principle become naturally magnetic. They do not need to beg for attention because their presence is enough to arouse desire. They know how to position themselves, how to communicate, and how to maintain the balance between interest and detachment. Now I want you to stop and reflect. Have you been in this position? Have you felt that the more it showed interest, the more distant she got? If so, know that this is not unlucky or destiny. There is a way to reverse this picture and transform the way you relate to women. And in the next stretch of this video, I will show you exactly what to do to turn this game to your advantage, awakening genuine attraction without looking desperate. But before, I want to know about you. Comment here below. What was the biggest difficulty you have ever faced in a relationship? Let's create a space to share experiences and grow together. Your comment can help other people who are going through the same challenge. And if this content is making sense to you, it already leaves your like, because it helps me to continue bringing valuable content to you. Subscribe to the channel and enable notifications so as not to lose the next videos. Now, let's go to the next part together, where I will reveal you what really makes a man irresistible to any woman. Have you noticed that when you send several messages to a woman, it seems that she starts responding less and less? It's not a coincidence. This is because one of the biggest mistakes men make is to demonstrate exaggerated interest without understanding how the attraction really works. The problem is not to show interest, but the way you do it. If you become predictable, too available, and always ready to respond on time, you lose that mystery factor and challenge that keeps the attraction alive. Think with me. When something is too easy, we don't value so much, right? This goes for everything in life, from a gift we earn effortlessly to the attention of a person who is always available there. In the game of seduction, this is even more evident. If the woman feels that you are striving more than her to maintain conversation or interaction, balance changes, and most of the time, she loses interest. This is why you need to learn to generate value in your behavior rather than demonstrating desperation for attention. And look, I know this can be frustrating. You want to show you like it. You want to keep the conversation flowing, but every message of yours that is unanswered ends up moving your head. But here is the truth. Your anxiety in maintaining constant contact may be driving the woman away rather than the near it. What happens is that when you are always there, sending a message after a message, without making room for her to miss you, you take it the opportunity to want to talk to you. And when the attraction begins to cool, no matter how cool or attentive you try, the dynamics have already been broken. Now imagine if instead you become that guy who knows how to dose contact, who doesn't have to be available all the time, and understand how to create this dynamic of desire and appreciation. This is the secret of men who really arouse interest in women. Because when you are not always running after, when you have an interesting life, when you know how to position yourself, you automatically become more attractive. Women begin to realize that they need to strive to get their attention, and that's where the game changes completely. Have you ever been through a situation where it seemed like everything was fine, but suddenly it started to get colder, taking longer to answer until the conversations were decreasing? This is because, without realizing it, many men create a dynamic where the woman feels that she has already gained everything she needed, without challenges, without new emotions. And the attraction dies in the routine. The secret to keeping the woman interested is to understand that the attraction is a game of emotions. And if you do not know how to play, you will end up losing even before you realize what happened. Now pay attention, because it can save your love life. Instead of sending several messages in a row, instead of always trying to pull the subject, try doing the opposite. Give space. Wait for her to miss you. If she takes time to answer, don't be the guy who tries to compensate for this by sending more messages. Be the guy who also diminishes the frequency and observes how she reacts. And do you know what happens when you do this? Many times, the woman realizes that something has changed, that you are no longer there giving all the attention of free, and it arouses in her the desire to run after, because we always give more value to what we feel we can lose. So now that you have understood why showing interest in the wrong way can end the attraction, tell me here in the comments, have you made this mistake? How was the experience? I want to know if you have already noticed this change in women's attitude when you gave more space. Comment down here, because I read and answer the best. Now that you have understood the error and why it destroys the attraction, it's time to talk about the solution. Because the truth is that most guys think that in order to recover a woman's interest, they need to compensate more attention, more messages, more care. But that only worsens the situation. If you really want to change the game, you must first understand that attraction is not built with empty words, but with attitudes that communicate value. And when I talk about value, I'm not talking about money, status, or appearance. I'm talking about the perceived value, how you position yourself, the energy you transmit. And it all starts at the moment you stop seeking validation and start creating your own value. The first step in reversing this situation is understanding that no one is attracted to someone who seems to need attention all the time. The man who values himself need not beg for anyone's time, because he knows he is an interesting guy, regardless of external validation. And that completely changes the woman's perception of you. If you are always waiting for her to respond, she is anxious when she takes time and tries to compensate by sending more messages. You are basically saying that your life revolves around her. And then the problem comes. Women are not attracted to guys who put all the happiness and attention on them. On the contrary, they want to be part of the life of a guy who already has something interesting happening. And this is where the second point comes in. The importance of unpredictability and mystery. If you are a guy who always responds on time, is always available and always demonstrates exactly what you feel, you take any sense of challenge out of interaction. And you can be sure, Without challenge, there is no attraction. The woman needs to feel that there is something about you that she has not completely deciphered, that there are layers to find out. When you become predictable, she no longer feels that cold in the belly of wanting to know what you are thinking or feeling. Now, if you know how to balance things, being present but without delivering everything at once, keeping a little mystery, letting her ask where you are, what you're doing, it completely changes the game. Because now she is beginning to wonder if you are really so interested, and it makes her run after your attention. And finally, let's talk about how to generate attraction without looking desperate. The key here is not what you say, but in the form with you act. If you want a woman to really feel attracted to you, you need to show that your life is already amazing, with or without it. Instead of running after, you need to create such an interesting lifestyle that she wants to be part of it. Women are attracted to men who have the purpose, who are focused on something larger, who live a life full of experiences and opportunities. When she realizes that you are this guy, that you have things happening, that you are not just waiting for it, the dynamic changes completely. And do you want to know the best part? You don't have to pretend anything. If you really invest in becoming a more interesting guy, the attraction will happen naturally. And now I want to know, have you tried to change your approach and realize a difference in women's reaction? Comment down here, what was the biggest change you noticed? And if you stop to think, all this makes sense. When you show value, create mystery, and let women feel that they need to invest to be part of your life, dynamics changes completely. The biggest mistake many men make is to think that more effort means more attraction, when in fact excessive availability kills any emotion involved. If you donate too much, respond too fast, you are always waiting there, you are not building desire, you are just becoming predictable. And predictability does not generate emotion, does not generate that cold in the belly, that sense of conquest. What really holds a woman is uncertainty, is the feeling that there is something about you that she still needs to decipher. Now think to me, how many times have you been taking messages, trying to find the exact moment when the attraction began to cool? And how many times did you think the solution was to send another message, giving another onslaught, when in fact what you should have done was simply to retreat a little and let her feel her absence? This is the point. If you want to be the guy who attracts and keeps a woman interested, she needs to be someone who has her own value, someone who doesn't have to chase, but naturally becomes someone desired. Starting today, start applying it and observe the changes. Now I want to know about you. Have you made this mistake of trying to make up too much and only worsened the situation? Tell me here in the comments. And if you want more tips to ever drive women away from your dreams, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell and get connected. Because in the next videos, I will show you how to turn this game once and for all.